Hello, folks, and welcome to today's episode of the Hospitable Hosts podcast. Today, we are sitting down with Eric Bell. Eric will share his inspiring journey from working as an electrical engineer to launching a thriving short-term rental business, all while managing properties remotely. From the challenges of arbitrage to the nuances of co-hosting, Eric walks us through his strategy for automating operations, scaling his business, and incorporating smart home technology to enhance guest experiences. If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to like and share. Hello, Eric. So glad to have you here with us today.
Hi, Miles. Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. No, always happy to have some of our hospitable hosts on and teaching some of our audience some new things. So great to have you.
Yeah, awesome.
So so to get started, I'd love to kind of get into a bit more about your background. So obviously, you're an electrical engineer full time, still are.
Mhm.
You were when you first started out being a short-term rental host. What got you into the short-term rental industry in the first place? From electrical engineering to short-term rental industry feels like a bit of a jump.
Sure. Yeah, some would say, some would say. To be honest, I wanted a little bit more, and
Mm.
kind of what I mean by that is you hear a lot about retirement these days and financial security, and from my perspective, I wanted more, trying to bring out my value, my knowledge, and also building that financial security, that retirement security. So. That's kind of why I took the leap to get in. After I did so, those things definitely came to light. Financial literacy, proving to myself that I am capable of doing more and pushing myself to the limit. That is really mainly the reason why I jumped in. Now, why I chose real estate and why I chose short-term rentals, I couldn't really tell you.
Mm.
At the time, I wasn't passionate, in one way or the other. I just knew that I wanted to try something, and this was that thing. So I had seen maybe a few articles or seen a few, friends doing similar. So that's probably why.
Cool, fair enough. And how did you find that transition going from one full-time job, obviously keen to push yourself to do more things, but how did you find that balance of having to do a W-2 job and also balancing with
Mhm.
short-term rental management?
Yeah, at the beginning and even still now, it's pretty challenging.
Mm.
The balance, like finding the balance was all about just it changed a little bit. We're about 3.5 years in, or yeah, about 3.5 years in. So over time, the balance changed. And originally, I was just working evenings every day. After I got off the job, I would spend a few hours to myself and then jump in towards the evening hours. But once I actually go live with my properties, it's no longer, you're kind of active hosting, you're 24-hour hosting. So,
Yeah.
um, thankfully, my day job allows me to message guests and things from my phone if necessary. And I just kind of had to build a structure that worked for me. So bright and early in the morning, we do all the, pricing and financials, and then later in the evening, we do more of the deep thinking analysis, kind of where are we going next? What are we doing next? Those types of thoughts. So yeah, it's still a challenge. Weekends are super productive. Um, you just kind of have to pick a mindset and I don't know, just put your head down. And to me, it's fun. It's enjoyable. You're pushing yourself, proving to yourself you can do something. So finding the balance was kind of natural. It's just I wanted to take the leap and I did so. But I did learn a thing or two about task tracking and making sure you're following up on items. You now
Mm.
run a business. So it's not a small thing. You have to make sure even the backlog items are being reviewed and keeping up. So task tracking is something I also learned. I did it at my day job, but it's more of a, not many people
Yeah.
have a personal task tracking but that's kind of what I've added to my repertoire pretty early on.
Yeah, nice. I
So
think it's important to have that discipline, right? You kind of have to in your day job because your boss is going to make sure that you're staying disciplined in that way. But when it's your own business, it's your own discipline you got to keep, I guess.
yeah, you have to hold yourself accountable. That's the word I'm looking
Yeah,
for. Yep.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. So tell me a bit more about what your business looks like today, right? So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you started with arbitrage and you were managing properties remotely. Um, what about now? Tell me, talk me through that journey, I guess, of where you started and where you're at today in those 3 years.
Sure. So, I mean, today we operate 9 properties. We
Mm-hmm.
downscaled a little bit. We were at 11. Now we're at 9. I'll get into that a little bit deeper. But yeah, I guess let's. At the very beginning, I chose arbitrage as a method of entering the industry. I didn't have the experience to prove myself as a co-host, so I didn't expect anybody to take me as a co-host. I think now you certainly can start as a co-host, especially if you're doing some of like the minor tasks, like just guest communication and maintenance and housekeeping scheduling. But
Yeah.
at my very first entry, I knew nothing about this industry, very bare bones. So I did my own research and I found that arbitrage was a cost-effective way to enter. So that's how I started. I started remotely in North Carolina with just one little townhouse property. And I got kind of lucky. That property worked really well. I mean, I did a lot of research and a lot of market analysis. That's very important, market analysis.
Mm.
And I made about 350 phone calls from my desk in Michigan before I landed my first deal. I'm not
Wow.
kidding. I have an Excel sheet with every call that I made. The problem I was having, the reason it took me so many calls, is I was calling large corporations that had massive apartment buildings. I was trying to get into something
Yeah.
like that. Graystar Management is a name I'm sure a lot of people know. They were kind of who I was trying to be targeting, one of their properties. But anyway, so that was a little struggle getting into. And yeah, we grew to 5 arbitrage properties in North Carolina, and then I started to learn even more. I think I grew too fast. I picked up some properties that weren't performing to what I thought they would. I was still doing that market analysis, but I just happened to be a little incorrect on those. But that opened some doors. Like my very first arbitrage property, the owner of that property was also a young kind of, you can call him an investor.
Mm.
Um, he lived in that townhouse, and then instead of selling it, he decided to rent it out. Well, he was a little interested in the short-term rental industry. So he came to me and was like, "Hey, I would like to have you as a consultant for me to buy my own short-term rental, get it all going and operating." So we worked out an agreement. It was about 6 to 8 months of effort. He was looking for a property, purchased. I helped him look and purchase a property, analyze that property before the purchase, obviously, and then get everything set up, teams, and design and pricing and strategy. And then I let him kind of run with it. So that was my first experience transitioning into the co-host space, and I really,
Mm.
really enjoyed it. I liked the idea of consultation and co-hosting, and I just fit that profile really well. I had his best interest in mind during the entire process, and he felt very, we built a lot of trust together, because I'm handling his $500,000 investment is what it was at the time. Um, so yeah, that's how I transitioned to the co-host space, and then that opportunity proved myself to another investor here in Michigan where I live, and that investor has 5 lake house cottages, and so he saw what I was doing in Raleigh, and I had a portfolio to show him, and so that kind of just worked out really well. I marketed myself a little bit, went to a few local like real estate conventions, just really small,
Nice.
small ones, but it showed that I cared and it got my name out there. And then with my portfolio background in Raleigh, he was excited to pick me up, and then that's been going incredible. I'm really, really happy about that set of properties. So after kind of all that experience, I decided I would prefer to go the co-hosting route at least right now.
Yeah.
I do want to invest myself, but I'm a little young. I think I can wait on that and just build my co-hosting portfolio. And then, so right now, my current game plan is to start moving out of Raleigh. I've already downgraded 2 of the properties, gotten out of them, and I'm looking to sell a bit of my portfolio to a colleague of mine. So I'm excited to discuss with him. It's not, we're just leasing the properties. We're not selling any properties. So really, it's just a contract to change management, and it's something small, but yeah, that's the state of the business, and that's where we're at.
Nice. Awesome. It sounds like a fantastic journey. You've obviously, I think, taken some leaps along the way. And it's probably fair to say there's some stuff where you probably had to have a lot of confidence in what you were doing.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if you've made any mistakes along the way and learned any lessons whilst doing it. Any advice that you'd probably give to kind of new hosts, either doing arbitrage or co-hosting?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, the advice is probably endless. We all make mistakes. Um, I think the most important piece, instead of talking about what I might have done wrong, but the most important piece before, if you're a new host or you're somebody looking to enter this industry, there's two pieces of advice I'd really give. One is learn the market research or learn market analysis, like spend a whole year or more. I mean, maybe you don't have to put a timeline on it, but put a ton of effort into learning market analysis, learning market research, because that's all that matters. I mean, really, it's about the property, where it's located, what it looks like, what's the neighborhood like. I know it sounds simple, but you know, there are properties out there that don't look like they would be award-winning short-term rentals, but the market might have
Mm,
that have the demand for it or might have the outcome. So learn market research before you make any moves. That was probably my biggest mistake. I thought I knew it, and it's kind of in hindsight, right? At the time, I made calculated decisions, and I'm okay. It's working well, but it's certainly not a top 1% property or top 10% property. I mean, I'm probably in the median, like 50% in Raleigh, operating in Raleigh. So market research. And then the second piece of advice I'd give is connect with other hosts. You know, it's sometimes hard to connect with hosts, but platforms like Hospitable and your guys' town halls or some of your open community events where people can join without being a subscriber, those are great things. Facebook groups and other conventions, those are all great ways to just kind of get a sense of the industry before you jump in. And I have a little note here I wanted to mention.
mm,
Hosting has a personal touch, um, and you have to enjoy your property or enjoy your market if you want to succeed really well. Because this industry, in my opinion, is an industry that you can quickly get burnt down in. If you're just pumping out properties and you're the only host like myself, trying to just maybe make some revenue or something, I think burnout is going to hit you a lot quicker than you might expect. So having a property that you enjoy really helps with that. Something that you can go visit not for vacation, but when you visit it to do work or when you visit it to go there and
yeah.
put in the effort, you're at least like in the scenery or in the environment that you enjoy. So those are my the best entry level tips.
Nice. I like it. They're
Yeah.
good tips. I like it. You obviously talked a lot there about different markets, and you've obviously got experience in kind of urban market like Raleigh, and then more of a vacation rental market like Michigan. What
Mhm.
would you say are some of the big differences between operating in those markets and kind of how you've approached hosting in both those markets?
Sure. I love this topic because I don't hear it talked about that much. We talk about
Mm,
doing market analysis in different markets that you can get into, but I think what's missed in a lot of these conversations is what type of guest you're. I mean, sure, you have a target market of guests. Everyone knows that term, but um, there's a little bit of difference, like what you're getting into. What kind of market do you want to operate in? So yeah, I've had a little bit of experience. Urban Raleigh market, I get a lot of long-term travel guests. People who are staying for 60 to 90 days. Some corporations who send their employees there. Those are
mm,
all, that's called corporate housing. You could run an entire business model just off of corporate housing and never have a short-term rental stay. Um, so, and then in your vacation rental markets, you have, lakeside vacation rentals, 3 to 4 nights, really, really high cost. You're marketing to a different person and you're hosting to a different person. It's a different personal touch. It's different amenities. It's different, um, I guess, property design. So it's very important to not only do your market analysis of the property and its demand, but also do your target market research. Who are you marketing to? What type of amenities are your competitors doing, and et cetera. And then the reason I love this topic is just as an entry level host, it's something that you might not always think about. Again, going back to that personal touch, what type of property do you want to be hosting?
Yeah.
And initially, you might think, oh, I want the best for myself because I might go visit it or I might go enjoy it. But in reality,
Mm.
you probably won't that often unless you're there to do work. You're not there to vacation. Unless you own it, you might use it as a vacation. But for me, it's all business. And you just have to have that little personal, I enjoy this market. I enjoy hosting this way. I'm there to make people's really happy, or I'm there to have people be productive, or and a more sadder note, I host near hospitals in Raleigh. We've had a lot of families who come in with
Yeah.
detrimental, illness through their family members, and we have to support them with contacting the hospitals, maybe getting a day bed or a hospital bed, prepared to the property before they arrive. These are things that I didn't see coming, and it was a little hard to. I was happy to help the family, but it was, a feeling that you don't expect. So, um, just some thought on the urban versus vacation rental markets. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great example, key difference there for sure.
Mm.
So it's obviously you are very interested in kind of talking about the different markets. I think something else that you're probably very interested in is tech. Obviously, you're an electrical engineer. Would love to talk to you about. Obviously, at some point we'll talk about Hospitable, as you're obviously a customer of ours. But first, wanted to talk about smart home tech, what you're currently using, and maybe some of your tips as well there in terms of what other hosts should be using when it comes to smart home tech in your rentals.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just talk about security tech. I mean, those are the most common cameras and door
Yeah,
locks. Go high quality with these items. They're security. They're for the guest. They're not just for you as a host. The guest wants to know that the home they're staying in is protected. So I'd stay away from some of your cheaper branded things. I am not a big fan of Ring cameras or Waze cameras, or Blink cameras. Those are all subscription based, and
mm,
I mean Ring is well known, but it's expensive, so that's why I don't always am there. But just make sure your security is high quality and it works for you. Everybody will be different. But more importantly, I'm really excited for tech entering the STR industry. We've all heard of the basic ones like StayFi with Wi-Fi and stuff, but I'm thinking even bigger. Um, Specifically, I struggled to manage my inventory in Raleigh because I was so far away. Sometimes I was using inventory at the property, like storage at the property. Sometimes I was
yeah,
using a storage unit off-site. I had 8 different housekeeping teams that I had gone through in 2.5 years in Raleigh to like find my team. That might have been a little bit on me, but it also was just not always the best fit. So
mm,
managing inventory between all these different teams and maintenance personnel and never being able to be there myself and organize it was very difficult. So I'm thinking tech can enter the industry in inventory management, like database management, and specifically, I know that Amazon warehouses are doing like camera inventory, or you might have even seen like some of those employee-less storefronts where you just walk in, you grab a few things, and
yeah,
all the cameras pick up what you're having and you check out. I think this could be integrated into STR, right? You have cameras in your storage units that are tracking all of your inventory in and out, and you wouldn't have to have your housekeeping mark anything or note any of your inventory. It's a big leap, but I think that's just one example of where tech can really enter the industry, and help out hosts, especially on a little bit larger scale, maybe like a boutique hotel scale. You have 6 or 7 rooms, one large inventory that could really help. Or some other fun things like let's talk about Hospitable a little bit. You guys added the owner portal. That's awesome.
mm,
I love the idea of having an owner portal. I've always prepared reports to my owners, and I've always prepared what I call like an owner manual, where
yeah,
it sets expectation of what to expect. Like if they want to use the property for personal use, they can just go right into Hospitable and block it off as a manual booking, and there's no payment. It's not like a direct booking. There's no payment in there, but it blocks the calendar, and all the systems are
yeah.
still in place. The housekeeping is automatically scheduled, and all of my recurring tasks are all set up for that booking. So I love the idea of an owner portal, but I want to maybe see Hospitable, and I don't know, maybe you guys have this in the pipeline, a guest portal where this is something that they could, like, let's just talk about the basics. The door lock, for example, you get your code, but what if you had like a phone tap to enter? I know some locks allow that. That would be part of the guest portal. Additionally, you could do like other upsell things part of the guest portal, but you could also have scenes. So when they first scan their phone and enter your home, your smart home can go into like arrival mode. Maybe a soft music starts playing, or lights turn on, or some type of automation scene when they first
Yeah.
arrive. When everybody's out of the property, you can go into away mode and save on energy like HVAC and things. These are all systematic things that are in place with our housekeeping, setting the temperature to a certain level or having some type of schedule. But in a guest portal, I like the idea of having a guest have a little more interaction, something on their phone, like that's kind of the next step. Maybe not right away, but that's where I see it going. And you can even do things like, at my own smart home, I do chore monitoring, right? When does my dryer and washer stop operating when I need to go flip the laundry? I get a little notification on my phone. And these are things that you could build into that guest portal, right? Like, let's say it could automatically detect that the washer turns on, and then I could give them a little notification. Hey, your laundry's done.
Nice.
I just started thinking about the guest portal idea, but I think there's, with a little more thought and some careful planning, we could integrate really well into the STR industry, not only saving your mind, like as a host, it's kind of giving you peace of mind, but also it could be fun and interactive and enjoyable for guests as well, as long as it's all working well and not breaking.
Of course.
Well,
Yeah, and so actually, by the time this episode is released for folks listening, there probably is a guest portal out. So go and check it out on our website, I guess. It might not be as advanced as Eric's suggesting, but smart thermostats are already here. We are moving towards having smart lighting. We are kind of integrated with offerings like welcome screen that can do things like change your TV screen to kind of give local restaurant recommendations, play some welcoming music. So we're definitely heading in that direction, unless we're already there. I can't see into the future as we're recording this. So mark that with an asterisk. Maybe we've already done it.
Cool.
I like the suggestions though, Eric. Very good.
Great to hear. Great to hear.
Sweet. So, Eric, I don't want to keep you too much longer, but I assume that you're potentially even looking for more rentals to do co-hosting on, and I'm sure that you're always happy to kind of share tips and ideas with other people. So, if folks want to contact you about doing co-hosting, or if they want to learn more about you or from you, where can they go to get more information, Eric?
Sure. That's a tough question. I don't really do social media that much. It'd be great to share my email. That's probably the best way to get in touch with me. I do have a website, miluxstays.com, miluxstays.com. You can use the contact form on that website to get in touch with me. I do have my personal like Facebook and Instagram, but I never go on them. I never post.
Never on there.
It's something I think I need to get a little better at, but time is limited, right?
No worries. Yeah, I don't blame you at all. It's good to just disconnect sometimes. Thank you very much, Eric. Been a pleasure chatting with you.
Thanks for having me, Miles. Have a good night.
Thanks again for listening to today's episode with Eric. If you liked today's episode, please don't forget to like and share, and listen out for our next episode coming soon.